Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Pump up the beat, yo, pump it up, yo, pump it. Y'all ready for this? I like to move it. I like to move it.
Hey, Bikeaholics and listeners alike, the show is still going strong because of a lot of hard work and your support, of course. Thanks to all those loyal listeners and true friends of the show that have supported us or are supporting us. For less than a coffee a month, you can help support us too and put a little fuel in the law-abiding biker gas tank to make sure this show keeps moving on down the road. So, calling all law-abiding bikers, head over to our Patreon page and take action today. You can do so at lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. Oh, did I mention there's benefits too? From all your friends at lawabidingbiker.com, we appreciate each and every one of you. God bless and ride safe. And now, straight from the Law Abiding Biker Media Studio,
out of sunny Yakima, Washington,
we bring you another episode of the
#1 listen to motorcycle podcast.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
You guys ready to do this?
Get out of my head, Ryan.
Let's do it.
You're in my head.
Get out of here.
Are we recording?
We are.
We're live.
I'm nowhere
Test.
near your head.
Please.
Welcome back, you freaking Bikeaholics. This is the podcast, of course, you know it, for the motorcycling majority. The Big MM, also known as the
99%ers, baby.
Mm-hmm. Know that. So I gotta ask, what are you freaking Bikeaholics waiting for? Mount up. Let us take you on a ride. All right, take two. This is Ryan Erlacher, your host of the Law Abiding Biker Podcast, and your high-tech
redneck.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's good because I'm not used to saying it. Usually I ask you guys to do it, so there you go. So
I have my doubts after this little last thing.
I know. So we had a little debacle.
No longer the high-tech redneck.
No.
Train went right off the tracks. Train went off the tracks.
Big old train wreck.
Burned in big old flash of...
Straight up.
Yeah, big old flash of lightning ball. I mean, flames. Thing went down in flames.
Down in a blaze of glory.
Big old huge time.
So we had a little debacle, and we're very, very open here at Law Abiding Biker Media. And I knew what happened after 65 plus episodes. Yeah, I forgot to take the mixer off mute, and so we recorded about 20 minutes of an episode before I realized that there was no levels going into the recorder, and then I realized quickly that it was on mute. So thank God for these dedicated guys. Mm-hmm. Of course, Popeye, you guys heard him. Popeye in the house, and he actually is very dedicated because he's got to drive back 2 hours tonight, and then he's got to get up very, very early for the morning shift. Of course, over there on the sofa, just owning it.
Yes, sir.
Chewy over there.
Get her done.
Now, Chewy's good because he works night shift, and he doesn't work till tomorrow night.
And he's got a 10-minute drive.
Right. True.
Yeah.
Through the country.
Yeah, 10 to 15.
Chewy, what happened at the Alamo?
Through the country.
No.
What was the Alamo about?
Don't even start with me.
See? Now he's getting it. Don't even go down that road. Residual from our summer trip and the whole history thing is the gift that keeps on giving.
Mm-hmm. July 4th, 1776. Any idea?
I have something about independence, and we were happy and stuff like that.
We were happy. We were given our independence.
The big guy in the bull.
I was going to say, was the giant and the bull involved in that?
Yeah.
The giant and the bull. That's right. All right, guys, we really, and you heard the opener. I had a little let's get ready to rumble opener. There's a reason for that because this is a loaded ass episode. Really, guys, the main topic today is going to be on some different classes of motorcycles, Harley all the way down to Indian to Victory, and we'll get into that. Yamaha and Kawasaki, all the Street Glide class bikes. We've got an email. We've got some other content, but that will be our main topic because we've been getting a lot of questions on it, a lot of emails. We can tend to be fairly Harley-centric on this podcast simply because that's what we ride. but we do have experience somewhat with some other bikes, and we have friends that ride them. And so we wanted to be a little, we support all bikers. Of course, we support all makes and models as long as you have two wheels. And so we'll throw that information at you when we get to it. But really quick, I want to tell you guys, complete overhaul of the original Boombox video. It was very popular, the original video. However, in true law-abiding biker style, I really want to put the best out for you guys, the best content. And because I was able to get some new equipment and some things, of course, I took 80, maybe almost 100 hours and completely redid that video. And it was great before. Now it's just really, really awesome. And of course, I did that for free. And anybody who had purchased the video already, I sent that new update to them. And anybody that purchases it from here on out, of course, will get that new upgraded video. I made a complete index for it. It's a 2-part video now. It's about an hour and 45 minutes long between the 2 parts. I really thought it was best to split it up. And I did a complete index on it, guys, now. So with the purchase of the video comes the complete index that I did. So if you watch the video a couple times, you pretty much remember everything, but there's that one thing that you always have problems with or you forget. You can simply go to the index now. You can find the specific topic that you're looking for. And in that index is marked the time that topic starts. You can quickly fast forward through the video and get to the portion of the content that you desire. Now, all the videos, just real quick, guys, are all the videos we sell, because I get some questions on it. You get them immediately up on purchase, and they stream just like a YouTube video. Save your email receipt, and you can watch that video streaming as many times as you want for life, and from any device such as a laptop, a computer, a mobile phone, a tablet, anywhere where you have internet access. Just think of it like a YouTube video. It's yours for life. Watch it over and over from the device of your choice. Getting a ton of great feedback on that video and that new upgraded video. I thank you for all that, guys. Thanks for all the support, all the emails. Of course, the reason I was able to do that and make it even higher quality, not only the editing processes, some new editing software, but of course I have new camera gear and all that kind of stuff. And of course, where did I get that camera gear? Where would you think I got that camera gear, gentlemen?
Got it from B&H, man.
There you go. Of course, guys, we have an affiliate with B&H, lawabidingbiker.com/B&H. Make sure you go there, bookmark that, guys. Just bookmark it in your browser and call it B&H. And once you go to lawabidingbiker.com/B&H or /Amazon, well, then you can just bookmark it as Amazon. And every time you go to that little bookmark and click through, well, there you go. That's right. No additional cost to you, but we get a small kickback. We appreciate it. Of course.
Thank you.
Yeah, B&H, and it helps put a little fuel in the law-abiding biker gas tank.
Keeps
as
this thing going down the road, as we like to say.
You know it. And B&H, guys, I buy all our tech gear. They're free shipping, probably likely the best prices you'll find. Not always, but I would say 90% of the time. That's where I get all this equipment in this studio. Over time, photography, video, computers. Did you know it's hunting season? Of course you do. Popeye.
Yeah, it is hunting season. I know.
Scopes,
I'm well aware.
And binos they sell.
Hunting wabbits.
A lot of people don't know that. Scopes and binoculars.
Oh, wait, that's deer season.
Video surveillance gear to stalk your girlfriend. If you're into that, you can surveil your girlfriend.
Maybe a scope for afterwards. We don't
binos and a scope.
We don't endorse that type of activity.
Absolutely not. That's right. All right, guys, we appreciate it. So lawabidingbiker.com/B&H, the fast shipping, all that good stuff. Yeah, that's right. Okay, we got an email here. Popeye, why don't you just dive into the email bag head first?
I'm diving in. I'm going for it.
Do it.
I got mail. Yay! I got mail. Yay!
So this is from Jeff, Peoria of Illinois. He says, we're talking about, he says, enough.
What's the subject?
Harley, yeah, the subject is enough Harley talk already. He says, hey guys, greetings from one heck of a flat state. A few podcasts ago, one of your brothers picked up an American motorcycle, not from the Harley stable. Well, some people want to hear his review and his thoughts. I just secured a new...
No, I'm teasing.
Quiet.
Sorry.
I just secured a new 2012 Victory Crossroads myself and get to take possession of that baby in 3 days. Can't wait to get the Stage 1 kit installed and drive up to Wisconsin to get it. Besides the Nuclear Sunset or the Flamer Orange, how was the ride? The gas mileage? the gas mileage, and how much crap did you get for not choosing a comparable Harley? Well, I guess there is no comparison for good taste, he says. I can't stand being in the crowd and have always stood apart from the crowd and support others for doing the same. Keep up the good work on the podcast and keep them coming. I enjoy listening to you guys while I'm working, and I enjoy listening to them while I'm working, and it helps pass the time.
Sweet. Thanks for that shout out. Really appreciate it, guys. If you want to contact us or send us an email, lawabidingbiker.com/contact. Of course, our hotline, which we really like, 509-731-3548, or anywhere in the world from your computer microphone, lawabidingbiker.com/voicemail. So segue right into our main topic. I named this particular topic Cool Baggers in the quote Harley Street Glide class. Let's get into this.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
And so, Popeye, why is it? Because I could have put up there, cool baggers in the Victory Cross Country class. Why did I put up there cool baggers in the Harley Street Glide class?
Harleys are the industry leader. They lead in this type of bike, and so the others compare to it. The others have come up after it. Not saying that we believe Harley is better, but not saying that Harley is better. There's other people who prefer different brands, but Harley they outsell every other brand. So they're the top dog. They're the ones trying to get knocked off from these other guys.
The Street Glide is,
or at least take a chunk out of the pie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Street Glide is the perennial bestseller.
Absolutely.
Correct?
It is.
A perennial?
That's what they
You know
said.
what a perennial is?
That's a flower.
Yeah.
But
Okay, scratch that then.
no,
I'm
but
driving a flower.
So the Street Glide, the motor company, you're right. It is the perennial bestseller, and the new edition is the world's favorite bagger. Now, like Popeye says, this isn't like what we're making up, guys. This is fact. Harley was the first one to make anything that looked like the Street Glide with that batwing fairing and all that. They've been doing it longer than anybody. They continue to do it. It is their number one selling bike. It continues to be their number one selling bike. It outsells probably all the other bikes we're going to talk about together. It is what people think of when they think of a Harley. They think of police bikes. All those aren't Street Glides. They look very, very similar. So it is what it is. It's not, certainly we support all bikes, and I do like some of these other bikes. I have no problems with them at all. Each to his own, but we do have a lot of information here. We're going to break it down, a lot of facts, and hopefully, this we have one email there, Popeye, but and Chewy, but we've had a ton of emails for people requesting this, because what they want to know is, okay, I love the Harley Street Glide, but is there alternatives? Are there cheaper alternatives? What do I get for my money? That kind of thing. What are the differences? Which one of these 5 Harley Street Glide class bikes should I buy? Because they all look fairly similar. Although as we go through the specs, you'll see that that's not the case. They may look similar, but they're not similar in a lot of ways. So that's why we are doing that, guys. The Harley is the leader, and just like the iPhone and the Android, we all know that's fact too. The iPhone developed all that stuff. The Android they're trying to get a piece of Samsung's trying to get a piece of that market. I get it. That's just how the free market works. You have a number one selling smartphone and all that, and you're going to try to emulate it.
And look at you, the $5 word.
Is that a $5 word? They're going to try to emulate, and that's not talking bad about Androids either. It's not talking bad about the Victory or the Indian or anything. It's just simply there's always a leader, and then there's those that are trying to get a piece of that pie, as Popeye.
We always
I'm all about a piece of that pie.
Don't we get a piece of that pie, Popeye?
Yeah. Get a piece of that pie when we're done with this podcast. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, who am I kidding? Whatever. She's already sleeping.
Yeah.
All right.
I was going to say, how long have you been married?
Yeah, 20 years. Yeah, it ain't happening.
Not going to happen.
Definitely not. All right, so here, do you want to go over the bikes here? We got the Victory Crossroads, right? So here's the 5 bikes. Why don't you just lay it down? Do you want to do that? Should we lay down the 5 bikes that we're going to go over?
Lay it on us.
Lay it on you. Well, we got the Victory Cross Country, made by Polaris. The Stratoliner Deluxe, made by Yamaha. The Indian Chieftain, made by Polaris. And the Vulcan 1700 Vaquero, which is cowboy in Spanish.
You
made
button
by
hooked me. I didn't know
Kawasaki.
you were going to button hook me.
That was an accident. I actually just hit my keyboard, so I apologize.
And that's made by Kawasaki. So those are the 5 bikes we're going to be looking at.
Yep.
Motorcycles we're going to be looking at.
All right, so let's break it down. Popeye, why don't you hit up the first thing we're going to start with? Of course, what does everybody want to know?
Price, what the hell is this damn thing going to cost me? That's
There you
everybody
go.
was thinking it's going to cost you an arm and a leg.
How much are
usually
the payments going to be? That's actually what people think. What are my
Yeah.
payments going to be?
Hey, if you can finance it, you can afford it. You can finance it, you can afford it.
It's the American dream.
Yeah, buddy. So anyway, we're looking at MSRP here. We're going to be talking plain Jane. I mean, this is nothing. This is like, you're pulling out. You've got, this is
I prefer
nothing.
not
You're
to pull out.
Yep. You're driving. This is like a stick shift. We ain't got no tinted windows, no leather seats, no nothing, right? This is your basic, because everybody knows you're going to put a stage 1 kit in it. You're going to put pipes on it. You're going to put a backrest on something, or you're going to put a
Bars,
passenger. You're putting something on it, right? So anyway, this is MSRP out of the box assembled. So your Indian Chieftain, you're looking at about $22,900. Harley Street Glide, you're looking at about $20,500. The Victory, you're looking at about $18,900. Kawasaki, you're looking about $18,700. And the Victory, the Yamaha Star is about $17,200. So in order, the Indian is most expensive, followed by Harley, then Victory, and just a little bit following that, the Kawasaki, and then the Star by a few thousand less.
So you're talking about, I'm looking at the spread there, you're talking about between these bikes, which is substantial because none of us, I'm sure there's some listeners that are rich, but we're certainly not falling in that category.
No.
I'm comfortable, but yeah. So you're talking, that's a substantial amount of money. You're talking about the Star all the way down at 17, and you're as high as 23 base price for the Indian Chieftain, which is what, if my math is right, $6,000 difference.
That's crazy.
Yeah, pert near. That's something to take into consideration when you're buying this type of bagger.
And the 3 out of these 5 are American made.
Oh, good call.
Correct.
There you go. Yep. Indian, the Victory, and the Harley. Yep. And the other 3 are metric. So, yeah. So there's your base price, guys. Let's move on. Are any of these carbureted anymore?
Negative.
No.
Most of these things are all fuel injected nowadays, and all these ones we're going to be talking about today, all of them are fuel injected. Electronic fuel injection.
Excellent.
EFI.
Excellent.
EFI. Let's talk about what kind of engines. Let's dive right into that and talk about which types of engines. And what we're talking about here, guys, we're going to do the breakdown is basically, how many cubic inches the motor is. Of course, all these are V-twins. We'll just get that out of the way. That seems to be the popular motor for these types of bikes, obviously. And then we're going to tell you how many cc's, and not a huge variation, but some. So why don't you run down with that, Chewy?
Chewy, you goofy looking bastard, get on that.
Oh. The Harley Davidson Street Glide is a 103 cubic inch, 1,690 cubic centimeter high output.
Back up just a little bit from your mic. It's getting really, there you
Sorry.
go.
Real excited.
There you go. You're getting excited.
Nice. 1,690 cubic centimeter high output V-twin air cooled, and it's integrated. Has an integrated air cooler. The Victory is
Oil cooler.
Oil cooler, right?
I'm sorry, oil cooler. You're correct.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have said if I wasn't.
The Victory is a 106 cubic inch, 1,731 cubic centimeter V-twin. It's air cooled, integrated oil cooler as well. The Star Deluxe is 113 cubic inch, 154 cubic centimeter air cooled V-twin, and the Indian is a 111
Thunderstroke.
Thunderstroke. Thunderstroke is 111 cubic inch, 1,811 cubic centimeter air cooled. The Kawasaki is liquid cooled V-twin, 1,700 cubic centimeters, and 103.7 cubic inches.
So all air cooled except the Kawasaki Vulcan. I think that's going to change probably next year, but as of now, that is the only one. And what are we looking at here? As far as we're all the way down at 103 cubic inch. Yeah, so Harley at 103 all the way up to the highest being 113, which is the Yamaha Star Stratoliner. I'm just teasing it's Yamaha, but I like saying Kawasaki and Yamaha.
Kawasaki.
So not a huge variation, but I mean it is. It can make a difference, but it depends on so many other factors. Exactly how many degrees that V-twin is, and some other things, a whole bunch of other things, which we're not going to get that technical. This is really for the end user. We wanted to do this information. Where does this fall with the end user, and what does it mean to you? So And then we've got all the way down to 1690cc, all the way up. What's our highest there, Papa? Do you see 7? Is it 18?
16. Yeah, we're looking at 1854.
Right.
What happened in 1854, Chewy?
The Yamaha Star Stratoliner Deluxe.
I don't know if anything significant of significance.
He knows better. Do you want to find out what happened? We can Google it, but yeah, I don't know. All right, so there you go. That's the different engine size, guys. Again, they're all V-twin, all air-cooled except the Kawasaki, which is water-cooled. Now, let me open this real quick before we get into too much horsepower. It's very, very difficult, guys, to find the horsepower for these engines because nobody puts it out, including the manufacturers. You can go to Harley's website. You can go to Victory Star. In fact, Victory makes a claim they don't make any horsepower or torque claims, but of course other people do because they put them on dynos. It can vary. I don't really know. I think Popeye thinks, we talked about this a little bit, that it's because people hear that, right? It's not a huge horsepower.
Right.
I think it's a little more technical than that, but.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can say what you want. I think it's just because people, you hear, it's got about 85 horsepower, or the Harley.
That's a lot of horses under my nuts.
5,000.
Just going to say.
At 5,000 RPM, we're looking at 77 horsepower. Who gets excited about hearing that their bike has 80 horsepower? In a car, you talk about a car, you're going on, my car's got, 680 horsepower, when you get some big old V8. So, I just don't think it's a big selling point in saying that the bike has 80 horsepower.
There you go. Bad point.
So I think that's how it.
Bad point.
No,
just kidding.
That's this is why it's just not a big sale item.
So likely, and I also, it does vary a lot of guys because you'll find out in torque and all that. It really depends on the amount of RPMs you're at and things like that. They do dyno them out, but I'll tell you can go to any of these sites, guys. None of them will tell you how many horsepower this motor, how many horsepower they claim it puts out. Here's some of the stuff I found. I will tell you that 0 to 60 miles an hour, besides horsepower, but just 0 to 60, the Victory does barely edge out the Harley. But again, it depends on what type of transmission you have and stuff. After 60, who knows? I haven't done it side by side. I have to do that with Mario on a closed, safe street, of course, not open to the public.
No.
We have actually a drag racing strip here, Renegade Raceway, which is pretty cool because you can go down there and do this kind of stuff, and it's open to the public and stuff at certain times. But we'll have to test that. But, after 60, I'm sure it's just fine. It barely edges it out. It's going to matter on transmission and all these other type of factors like, weight and all that kind of stuff. But they claim Harley is around 77 at 5,000 RPM. The Victory is at 84.9 horsepower. Of course, I couldn't find a RPM for that. I couldn't find anything on the Star.
Yeah, I looked. Too.
Same.
I couldn't find anything.
There's very little information about the Star. In fact, I don't know if it's a hugely, popular selling bike, but the Indian, they say, is 74.2 at 4,500 RPM. Kawasaki is topping out at 73 horsepower at 5,300 RPM. So there you go. If you look at it, 5,000 to 5,300 RPM, it's fair to say through my research, and I think it's fair, Popeye, they got all these notes. They've been doing some research on it too. I say it's fair that all these motorcycles, depending on who does it, who does the dyno and the different RPMs, are between 75 and 85 horsepower.
The hell you got in your throat over there? You okay?
Did he do that right in the microphone too?
I got it out. I
didn't hear it. That's why I'm asking.
I heard it.
Okay. I felt it.
He likes listening to me.
Yeah. All right, so there we go. So all these bikes, guys, regardless of the size, is going to be between 75 and 85 horsepower under your arse. So just know that. Let's talk about torque. Again, I'll have Popeye break this down for you. Again, it's going to matter here, guys, but we'll put it in perspective when we're done. Why don't you roll with that?
Real close. We're just going to blow through this. Like you say, they're all real close.
You like blowing through things?
He does like to blow, doesn't he?
Oh, my goodness. Go ahead.
Who wants to get their ass kicked first?
I do.
Me, please.
Who wants a mustache ride?
Me, please.
So in a Harley, we're looking at about 105 pounds of 105 foot-pounds of torque, 3,250 RPMs. A Victory, we're looking at about 105 foot-pounds of torque on there. The Star, 100 foot-pounds at 1,600 to 4,400 RPM. The Indian is about 103 foot-pounds of torque at 3,100 RPM. And the Kawasaki, they're claiming to be at 108 pounds at 2,750 RPMs.
So looking at that, I think we can break it down. Let's put it in perspective. So those are pretty close, guys. So
Indian and Harley are real close.
You're right, at the same RPM.
Kawasaki's quite a bit ahead.
Well, it's not because it's a different RPM. And that's what you have to take into account.
You're correct. Yeah.
Is it ahead or is it not? So here's to put this in perspective for you guys that want to know about which 5 of these bikes you should ride and what this means for you. Basically, they're all pretty much really close. If you look at between 1600 RPM and the highest is 4400 RPM, they're all between 100 and 108 foot-pounds. So there you go. That puts it in perspective for you. I don't think that's a huge deal.
Nope.
For the end user because they're all right in there. So let's talk about valve train a little bit. The Harley is a twin cam. And then why don't you shoot with Victory there? One of you guys, Chewy.
Victory is a single overhead camshaft with
Back up a little bit.
Jesus.
Sorry, guys.
You get on that foam and it just gets really bassy.
Sorry,
That's
guys.
right.
When you feel the foam on your tongue in the back, you're getting a little close.
I was told.
A little close.
Listen,
He
I
likes
was
to
told
eat the
my
foam
voice
ball.
has been too quiet on this thing, so I'm trying to.
Yeah. I know it looks like
No, you're-
balls.
Oh, jeez.
Don't, keep
Come
it
on,
out.
don't bring me into your little realm here, there, dude.
So yeah, no, if we'll hear you just let it just gets really bassy if you
Okay.
get up on that, if you get up and try to lick the ball.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. You're licking it.
all right.
You're licking
I'm
it. You're too close.
I'm a tongue's length away. All right.
Where were we at?
The Victory is a single overhead camshaft with 4 valves per cylinder. The Star is 4 valves per cylinder. The Indian is 2 valves per cylinder. The Kawasaki is 4 valves per cylinder.
All right, so there you go. Again, we want to give you guys the information, but at the end of the day, you aren't going to give a crap about that. All right, what you're going to care about is, which bike is technically, has more power or faster or whatnot, but I don't think this is going to make a huge deal with any of those bikes. What's going to make a deal is transmissions and, how those are geared. I will tell you that I think most of these are geared the same, not as far as how many speed they are, but how the gears are and at what RPMs you want to shift and all that. These are street bikes, guys, and these companies know, they're competing with the Harley. They're going to gear it very, very similar. Again, there's going to be some small differences based on the engine size and all that. But why don't you shoot with this, Popeye?
So we're looking on the tranny here. We're looking at the Harley Street Glide, the Victory, the Indian, and the Kawasaki. All of them have a wet clutch, and they all have 6 speeds. On the Star is the only one that has a 5-speed. It still has a wet clutch, though.
Right. And I'm going to say, without riding Star, again, if you guys are riding these bikes and you want to, we really encourage you to get involved with the community and get involved in this conversation because we get a lot of emails about which one of these bikes people should do. And that's why I spent 5+ hours just preparing the show notes for this episode because I really think it's going to be an evergreen type episode, which people can come back to for a long time to come. If you want to get all the notes on this, guys, real quick, I'm a little off track, but if you want to get the notes, lawabidingbiker.com/ and whatever episode this number. And in fact, this is going to be such an episode that we're going to kick people back to. I'll just make a permalink and we'll call it lawabidingbiker.com/ 2014 bagger challenge. Now, the bikes we're talking about here, are between 2014 and 2015, and but they're all pretty much the same. So that's why we're going to call it 2014 bagger challenge, and we'll probably do it come next fall too. When all the new bikes come out, we'll do it again. As far as the, all the transmissions, like Popeye said, are pretty much the same. If you do have a Star or one of those bikes, you can always call us at 509-731-3548 or lawabidingbiker.com/voicemail or /contact. Chime in. Go straight to this episode and let us know what you think about your Star and if that 5-speed's a problem. I'm going to tell you straight off the top of my head, I'm going to say that this day and age with a motor that size, everybody else is 6-speed. For the freeway, I really think that...
I'd be curious. I'd love to have somebody call or write us and let us know what they think about that
Right.
5-speed. Because I just tell you on a Harley, you look at the older Harleys and you look at a 5-speed versus a 6-speed. And
Well, yours is a 5-speed, your other one, right?
Yep, I have 2 Harleys. I have one as a 5-speed, one's a 6, and I can tell you, getting down the highway on my 5-speed versus my 6-speed is a whole different story.
And
I gotta say, I don't use my 6-speed a whole lot unless I'm on the freeway.
right,
If I'm just riding to work,
that's what it's for, though.
going on the
So
highway,
you don't use 6-speed while
Oh,
you're
here
in
we
town.
go again. I thought we were
in town 6-speed.
In town.
Yeah.
You do?
No,
Well, that's what you just said. You only use it when
I
you're on
use
the highway.
on the freeway. I
That
use
makes sense.
my 6-speed on the freeway.
Right. Why would you use it in town?
You'd be lugging your bike. It's made for the freeway.
I got some choice words for you guys right now. I'm choosing not to use them because we're on the podcast.
You can.
That's for the both of you.
It's already.
Right
I think this episode. Well, it's not explicit yet, but I'm sure at some point
It's
one of
gonna
us,
be at
one
some
of us
point.
will, one of us will slip and say an F-bomb or something. I'm sure. Especially just coming off Sons of Anarchy episode where we're saying it all the time because you can't keep those ones clean. But all right, so I'm just gonna say, like I say, we'll end on that note with the transmission and say I would be very careful with that 5-speed. I had a wide glide and it had a 5-speed, and Kelly up in the Big River chapter has a 5-speed. Yep. It hinders him, right?
Yeah, he doesn't want to. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't.
I rode
push
the
it that
crap
hard.
out of mine.
Yeah. I don't like riding.
It's made to do that. It's a Harley motor.
You get out of this state and you get up into them speed limits that are 80 miles an hour. Where the speed limit's a little bit higher. I don't like to ride mine over 80 miles an hour on that speed limit.
Well, you feel it.
Oh yeah,
you feel that
it's
motor
wrapped
working.
out. That's
it's
what I'm
wrapped.
saying.
I used to ride the heck out of that wide glide that I had.
Yeah, you get
5-speed, and I freaking.
Me too.
Yeah, when you get out of like I said, you get out of this state and you get 75 to 80 mile an hour speed limits, and just to go to the speed limit or a couple overs, so you're not getting ran over.
For an extended period of time.
That sucker is wound out. So I'm curious, I say on that Star as to what how that 5-speed is doing with that big motor.
Yeah, I know, especially since it's got the biggest motor.
Yeah, 6-speed. I definitely like that 6-speed on my Street Glide.
Oh, it is nice. Best thing they ever did, man.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it with that on transmissions, guys. But I would definitely test ride that Star, or test ride any of them. But definitely you'd want to ride one with a 6-speed and then hop on that Yamaha Star and see what the difference is between that 5-speed, because you might not like it. And none of them claim this on their site at all. I actually had to look at pictures to see if it had a hydraulic or cable clutch. It's funny, but here you go. I got the breakdown for you guys through my research. Why don't you go with that, Chewy?
Looks like the Harley Davidson, the Yamaha Star, and the Kawasaki are all hydraulic clutches.
Oh, I love my hydraulic clutch,
and
man.
The Victory and the Indian are all cable clutch.
There you go. So which are cable? Sorry, Indian and
the Victory and the Indian.
The Victory and the Indian, which is surprising. Victory does a bunch of other stuff. Okay, does the cable clutch work? Yeah. Now, does your Street Glide Popeye right now? It has a cable still?
I don't think so. I think it's hydraulic.
Well, I don't know. I'm asking
2012?
I don't know. My 11 had a cable.
Did it?
Uh-huh. Yeah. In fact, a lot of the CVO models were coming with hydraulic. Now, like the Street Glide Special comes with hydraulic, but as of last year, it was cable, so I'm pretty sure yours is cable. You just don't know it.
Maybe not. I know that it. If when you're riding my 12 compared to my 02, is that you better have some big forearms to ride.
Yeah.
I mean, there is some serious pull. On my Springer.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, that sucker is. Yeah, it'll give you a forearm workout.
I'll tell you what, those hydraulic clutches are the only ways to go, guys. I mean, get what you want, but when I was looking, or when you're looking at one of these new bikes, I would certainly take into account the cable clutches is old technology, and that's why everybody's moving away from it. It works fine, but I'll tell you, man, those hydraulic clutches shift and pull so smooth in that, especially if you're in traffic jams like this summer trip in California.
Yeah. Yep.
Some guys' arms were getting tired. And I train on I've trained on the police motorcycles before, and they don't have hydraulic clutches yet. And I'll tell you, you get really tired.
Right.
But with that hydraulic clutch, and it takes all that.
End up shifted it into neutral, huh?
It's yeah.
Well, 3 or 4 years ago up in Calgary, me and LD coming out of the city there, and stop and go traffic in 100 degrees, and dude, I was on my Springer back then, and my form was just killing me, and LD looks over at me, and I'm just trying to shake my wrist out, going, "Oh, dude, this is killing me."
Spent too much time in the bathroom early in the morning, probably.
Switch hitter if I was as left-handed.
Be careful. Don't switch hands. You'll get AIDS, bro. Stay with one partner.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go with the clutch lever. Definitely try a hydraulic, guys. If you're testing these bikes, and try a cable, you'll see the big difference. Let's talk about. Now, I couldn't find all the primary drive. Let's go over what we have. Harley, obviously, we all know is a chain. It's in the primary drive. It's in the bath, oil all in there in the primary drive. Now, they say the Victory is a gear drive primary. And so I couldn't find it on Star. Indian did say theirs is gear driven. They're primary. We're not talking about the final drive, guys. I've had some guys on my blog say that when we did the 750 Street, But it's we're not talking about the belt drive, the final drive. We're talking about the primary drive. And then I couldn't find out Kawasaki. If you guys know, hit us up. Let us know. I did some research. Couldn't find it. You want to talk about belt drives? Are any of them chain drive or anything like that?
No, all these new bikes are all going to the belt drive, and that's what all these are that we're talking about today.
Yep. So they're all right in line, all these brands with the Harley Street Glide, and they're doing that, Kevlar.
All of them have cruise control now. They're all, all these big baggers are all got cruise control. Wheelbase, we'll get into the wheelbase a little bit. Harley, we're looking at 64 inches.
And now wheelbase, just so the audience knows, because not everybody knows what that term means. The wheelbase is how many, what's the base between the front and rear tire. There you go. That's what we're talking about.
How long is it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. 64 inches here, but go ahead.
Yeah, I would have said mine was...
That's what she said.
Yeah. Harley, 64 inches. Kawasaki, we're looking at about 65.5 inches. Victory, 65.7. The Star, 67.5. And the Indian stretching out at the longest, 68.1.
And so what do you see? Do you see anything off the top of your head? I mean,
you're looking at 4 inches. I don't think 4 inches, when you're dealing with a motorcycle.
It makes it does make a huge difference, actually.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
On 4 inches.
Yep. On 4 inches.
See, now I used to do a lot.
Your old lady said it does, but
that's what I said. On motorcycles, it doesn't make much difference. We're talking about other places. 4 inches might make a lot, but I used to do a lot of snowmobile riding, and I can tell you they started getting these longer and longer tracks, and it made a big difference for turning around in spots.
Right.
Now, they've got just these monster tracks.
That's the point I want to make.
But
it does.
When you're working with 4 inches, I don't think so.
All right. I will tell you that just from experience, it does make a huge difference because I've tested some of these different bikes, and I've read a lot of blogs on it. And where it really makes a difference, no, for the standard rider that's out there cruising, down the road. But when you are doing tight maneuvering, like motors, police motors type training, and you're doing cone drills and parking lots, and most people, they just you've seen it. We try try not to do it in our club, drag our feet and look like a monkey, like a lot of bikers. We really ride them like they're supposed to be with our feet up on the boards, and you use your clutch and your brake and all that. But I'll tell you that that those bikes aren't as nimble, the longer ones. They just aren't.
They're not.
So you'll start seeing a little as we go through here, you're going to start seeing the Harley. Pay attention. It's shorter. It's lower. It does all these things, which makes it, because they've had so long to perfect this thing. The other companies have not had time to perfect their bike. And so to fit everything, they're making a longer wheelbase and stuff like that, where Harley has had how many years to do this. And so that's why it's the lightest or not the lightest, but the nimblest and the best turning. And pretty much any blog you can read where they go through these type of bikes, they all tell you that definitely the Harley handles.
Well, if anybody can go on YouTube and look at that police obstacle course video, holy cow, that
dude can ride.
That is unbelievable what that guy does on that bike. Yeah.
So Harley is the lowest wheelbase, Kawasaki, Victory, Star, Indian in that order, and then let's talk about ground clearance. What goes right in, as far as how high the bike is.
Yeah, and like you were saying, Harley is the lowest. Harley 5.3, Indian 5.6 inches, Kawasaki 5.7, Victory 5.8. And the Star is 6.1, so they're well over what a Harley is.
And you don't think that makes a huge difference, but it does in looks especially. You can really tell that the Harley is lower to the ground. It's the lowest of all of them. Rideability type deal, with that low and the wheelbase and ground clearance and all that. It all can come together. It doesn't mean the other ones. Certainly, I'm not telling you guys that the Harley is the best one here. I'm just telling you, I'm trying to use what experience we have and what experience I have and what makes sense. Certainly that wheelbase, if the average biker on a Harley or a Kawasaki or a Victory ain't gonna matter. It's if you're gonna get into that low speed cone drill, really aggressive low speed riding where you're dragging floorboards and all that kind of stuff. For the average biker out there, guys, don't worry about it. I don't think it's a huge deal, but I certainly want to throw that in there so you have the full scope of what's going on here. And again, ground clearance, although the 6.1, nearly, you're talking Harley and is 5.3, and then the Star is 6.1. What is that, 10 inches more?
That
it's 8.
You really got your wife convinced.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Well, you're at 5.3. 6.3 would be
that'd be 1 inch.
10. Yeah, 10.
Almost.
That'd be 1 inch.
1 inch. So,
Almost.
yeah, sorry. There you go. So
I said you really get your wife convinced.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
As long as you tell her that, dude, she believes it. So you're at 5.3.
Long as you
let her
don't
get-
know know math, you're okay.
As long
Right.
as she don't know what a ruler is. Don't let her see a ruler.
I keep it. I actually have a ruler, but it's a little bit skewed. So what are we looking at here? 5.3 to 6.1. It's not an inch. How much would that make a difference? It could, depending on your seat height too, right? If you have more,
That's what I was going to say. We're going to be talking about seat heights here, and just Alec, let's go right into that.
right?
Talk about seat heights. I mean, that's a big one to me. It's like where does your seat sit compared to your motor? I mean, that's a balance issue. So Harley, we'll talk about seat heights here. Harley, it's at 26.1.
Lowest again.
Mm-hmm. The Victory is at 26.3. The Star is at 27.8. The Indian is at 26. So it's not the lowest.
660 millimeters.
We're
for
looking at
people
1000s.
elsewhere in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Kawasaki, 28.7. So Kawasaki's a couple inches higher than most.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like I said, you're up higher. You got, depending on where your motor's at, yeah, that can affect balance and whatnot.
Also, your seat height. So you're talking about, let's see, the Star is already at 6.1 for the ground clearance, and then the Star seat height is 27. So when you talk about ground clearance and seat, you really need to sit on that bike, because that makes a big difference on whether you can be flat-footed or not.
Right.
And I guarantee I'm 5'8", and with the ground clearance on the Harley and the seat height of the stock seat, I can barely touch flat-footed with both feet, and I'm 5'8". So if you're any shorter than 5'8",
Right.
and you're in any of the
toes.
any of these other bikes, the Indian, the Kawasaki, the Victory, the Star, you're going to be tippy-toeing. And even on the Harley, if you're 5'4", they can lower them. They can get a lower seat. They do some things. Didn't Sarge do that with his wife?
Oh, even Sarge lifted his boots a little bit. He got higher on his boots so he could be flat-footed when he's standing there. He says it's a real pain in the ass, and he says it's real heavy when you walk, but that's why he's got, because we're making fun of him saying, because he's, he's about our height, so we're making fun because he's short, saying he's trying to raise himself up, but he says it was because so he could put his feet on the ground when he's riding.
Wow, I never knew that. Look at the little tidbits of extra information you get right here on the Law Binding. Sarge wears boots to make himself look taller. He should wear high heels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what we should have done. Got him a pair of high heels. That'll get you to reach.
My wife's about 5'3", and she can't reach. She's better on the. I got another family member's bike.
5'3" on a street glide, you couldn't even reach.
No, she tiptoes.
Okay.
I got another family member's bike that's a Road King.
Right.
And she does a lot better.
She rode that, I saw. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
She does a lot better on that bike.
So let's talk about rear suspensions, guys. Why don't you roll into this, Chewy?
Cool. The Harley is manually hand adjusted.
And this
adjustable.
is the 2014. Let me put that in perspective. The 2014 Street Glide Special is a manual pneumatic type. You actually,
so you can hand adjust.
Yeah, you hit a knob. It's really nice, and it rides better than the air suspension.
Before that was the air suspension. Pump it in.
Right.
Pump it.
And they're still doing the air suspension on a lot of models. So I just think I've said it in the past on podcast episodes. I've had both, and I'll tell you this.
That's funny. Remember, here's this little sidetrack. But so we're down at that big tree this summer down one of the ride through trees down in Redwoods.
Right.
And so this guy shows up.
Redwoody.
Redwoody.
This guy shows up on a Victory. What's the cross country, right?
Uh-huh.
The one that Mario's got. So he shows up, and this guy had ridden. Hell, I mean, he'd come most of the way across the states. He was Midwest or something, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
And he's all loaded down with every damn piece of equipment. I think they were kind of camping, looked like I probably tent on there, and he was stacked up pretty good. So he had quite a bit of weight up on that thing. So he comes in and he's talking to Mario. We'd ridden however many thousands of miles at this point, and finally Mario found another Victory guy. So of course they're instantly buddies.
After that whole trip. I do like the Victory. We're just busting your guys' balls out there.
Found himself a buddy.
We got to tease him.
Yeah, we got to tease him.
It was though.
He
finally found a Victory guy. It's true.
So anyway, so they're sitting there talking, and he goes, this thing kind of runs rough. When you're going down the road, he says it's not a real smooth ride as far as suspension and whatnot goes. And so Mario asks him, what are you running your suspension at for PSI? What the hell are you talking about? And so this guy had bought this bike brand new and had no idea that you had to put air into the shocks to run your suspension.
Dude, there's Harley owners like that too.
Thousands of miles of this poor bastard road. Got all this weight on there.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, and he's just, because I've had mine. I split my, I lost an airline one time on my bike because my seat cut it. My old seat was my old one. It was a Corbin seat. Hated that damn thing, but it cut the line. Yeah, you want to talk about when you hit without air in your
jaw your back
and your
your intestines.
Yeah, it will mess your back up. So Mario tells this guy, where he needs to go to fill this thing up with air. Well, the funny thing is that he tells him, there's we stopped at that little tiny gas station, one pump. I mean, there's nothing to this gas station, but they do have air back there. So he tells him, go up there. He says, you can fill up with air.
No, not with a compressor.
Oh, dude.
Exactly.
You'll blow your suspension out.
Exactly.
Bam, it's going to blow
Did
that.
he tell him that?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And
What he should have said is, hey, one of our guys has a pump here if you want to use it.
Well, half of our guys
pump.
have a pump here, a hand pump. We can give you some air. You fill it. So I'm thinking, this poor bastard, after riding this far, now he's thinking, I got it made. I'm going to go. This will be a lot better ride. Runs up, fills it up. He's going to blow up the damn bag in his suspension.
Dude, Mario, if you're listening, you cannot ride with us anymore. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. Yeah, as soon as he left, what'd you tell him? And he goes, I told him to go up there and get some air. We're like, dude, he's going to blow his suspension out.
I want to ask Mario, how did you air yours up? Tell me you didn't do it that way.
That's why Mario's doesn't work well. I keep trying to air this thing up, but they don't hold air.
That's funny.
He's like, he's got to be careful. I'm like, dude, you hook that air up there. It's
You're
blow
done.
right up.
Even with a hand pump, you're just like, it pumps up so fast. I did a video on that, lawabidingbiker.com/Harley air suspension. If you guys want to know how to air that up properly in the right levels and all that, be very, very careful. Don't use an air compressor. But it was funny because I got a couple emails after doing that video. It's a pretty popular video. And a couple guys were like, I had no idea that was there. And they've been riding their bike for years. And they're like, oh my God, it rides so much smoother. Well, yeah. But isn't that amazing? So I put that video out. It was free, guys.
Right.
And guys really enjoying that video. All right, so let's talk about, this is huge, and I have some things to say on this, and I know you probably do too, guys, but why don't you run down on Popeye on the brakes and what we found out on the brakes here.
All right, the Harley is a dual front disc brakes with optional ABS standard on the Street Glide Special. On the Street Glide Special, it's got... this is optional, right, for the integrated braking system?
No,
or is that standard?
With the Street Glide Special, it's standard.
Okay, it's standard now on the Special.
Right.
Integrated braking system, it's standard, and a reflexed linked ABS system.
That's what they call their integrated. Harley calls it their reflex, but that's what it is. It's integrated.
Okay, gotcha. The Victory is a dual front disc brakes with optional ABS. Star is a dual front disc brake. We're not real sure about what their ABS situation is.
I don't.
The Indian is a dual front disc brakes with ABS. Comes standard.
The Street Glide Special is standard and not on the Street Glide. I wanted to clear that up.
And then the Kawasaki is a dual front brakes with ABS. And guys, if you've been riding a while, if you've had ABS or not had ABS, I think most of us sitting here can tell you that ABS sure is nice on a bike.
Well,
I've locked it up on my old one, on my Springer. I've been locked up. Ryan's had some experience with
Ryan can talk about that on one of our trips.
Hitting some gravel and having that, not having ABS. I've had times where, coming into a corner hot, you hit that ABS, and the ABS kind of saves you. ABS is pretty nice.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. I'll just tell you guys right now, when you're shopping for any of these bikes, just get ABS. You're crazy not to get ABS. I don't care who you are. I've done a lot of riding and I've done a lot of drills and things like that. I've tested some of this stuff. I don't care how badass you think you are. I don't care what kind of rider you think you are. They will tell you. We've done tests. There is no way you can stop as quick. The human just can't do it as quick as ABS and keep it as controlled, especially in corners and things like that. Yes, those riders that have ridden a lot and practiced can do it okay, but an ABS system will still beat it, including the reflex linked ABS system. And briefly, if you guys don't know what integrated brake system is, basically what that means is I can grab front and back. And of course, you guys know whenever you're braking, especially emergency braking, you should be grabbing front brake and back brake. You don't just use one or the other. You should be doing both of them, more front than rear. And there's arguments on how much percentage of that. We won't get into that today. But what this reflex braking system does, it doesn't matter how much back you give it and you start locking up the tire or how much front. You could literally freak out in an emergency situation, you could just reef on the front brake. And it's, if you normally did that without the reflex brake system or without ABS, you could really, really get hurt and crash. So what the integrated brake system does is it has a computer that says, oh, wait a minute, you know what? That's way too much front brake. And it does this all within, the pubic hair of a second. It tells it, hey, you know what? That's way too much front. It starts automatically braking the back, or if you have too much back, it gives more front. It knows exactly how much you need, regardless of what you're doing, because you can be as prepared as you want when it comes to oh shit time. Let me tell you that it's nice to have that in place and let it do the thinking for you, because you're probably not going to be thinking. So the integrated brake system on Harley doesn't kick in, which is nice, till 20 miles an hour. The reason for that is, guys, you wouldn't want that kicking in at low speed when you're doing low speed drills, because it's going to, for low speed riding, you don't want integrated brake system. I'll just leave it at that. It will screw you up. So it doesn't kick in until about 20 miles an hour, which is when you're really going to need it anyways. Now, the only bike I found that came with it was the Harley Davidson, the integrated. So first and foremost, I would get ABS. Just no way around it, guys. If it's an option, just get it. It could save your life, literally. It's not worth your life. It's usually only a couple $100 extra. I think it's like $300 extra to get it on a Harley.
Spend that money.
Just get rid of your stereo, do whatever you have to do, but get ABS, man. We take enough dangers out here. Anything else on ABS, I've pretty much beat a dead horse. Let's get into tires, and why don't you, Chewy, run down. Do you know what this little literature is here? Do you know what this means? Yes, no, maybe so.
I can read it. I don't know what the B means.
Oh, well, don't worry about the B.
All right.
That's just,
yeah, we're doing the Harley. We're going to start off with the Harley. The front tire is going to be 130.
Which means what? 130 what?
That I don't know.
Okay, that's what I want to make
had
sure.
That one covered, didn't you?
Yeah, had it covered like a, tell you what, like a.
Do you know what it means? Yeah.
So what 130 means is the width of the tire. And so as we go through these here, Chewy, 130 is the width, and then, excuse me, we don't really care about by 60, but we care about 19, which is the size of the wheel. So it's a 130 width by 19-inch wheel on the front. Go ahead and pick that up for the rear.
So the rear tire is going to be 180 width by 16 on the Harley.
Which is a good wide tire now. I like it. It looks nice, and it's a good size. Why don't you pick up with the Victory there, Chewy?
On the Victory, it's going to be a 130 width by 18 on the front tire.
Victory is a little bit same width, a little 1 inch shorter wheel. And I will tell you, on this new Street Glide on the 2014, and that's what I like about them, is it gives it that look, man. You're looking at a 16-inch rear wheel, and you're looking at that big 3 inches higher than 19 front. That gives it a very, very particular look, and I like that look. So you'll see some of these other ones are within an inch of each other, and that's why they look different. That's one of the first things I noticed when I bought my 2014 Street Glide Special. I was like, dude, something looks just really badass about that. And that's why, is because there's 3 inches difference between that front wheel. It's much, much bigger. All right, go ahead, Chewy.
And then the rear tire on the Victory is a 180 width by 16.
So same width as the Harley. Go ahead.
The Star is going to be, the front tire is going to be 130 by 18. And the rear tire is going to be 190 by 17. And then on the Indian is going to be, okay, this is a little different here. The front is going to be 30 by 73.
Oh, probably 130. I just think I forgot the
130. Okay, yeah, you did. Yeah, 130. And it's 73.
16. It's a 16 inch wheel.
I'm sorry. Right. 16, yeah. And then the rear tire is 180 by 16.
So they're pretty much 180s, 190s for the rear, okay?
And then the Kawasaki is 130 by 16. And then the rear tire, the front is going to be 130 by 16, rear tire 170 by 16.
So see, there you go. Now, when we look at pictures of the Kawasaki, I want you guys to note that the Kawasaki has 16 front and 16 back. That makes it look different. It just really, really does. And so that's something you want to look at. What look are you looking for?
I've noticed it looks to me like on the Victories, normally their back tire is kind of wide.
It's not. It's the same as the Harley. It's the same as mine. And in fact, the Harley, they're both 180 rears. They're both 130 for width. They're 130 front, 180 rear. Now, the difference is the Harley has a 19-inch front wheel. The Victory has a 18-inch front wheel. They're both 16 back. So that's why they look very, very similar. The Victory is probably the closest to the Harley as any of the others in many aspects. So, All right, let's talk. You wanted to get into this, Popeye. Here we go. Let's talk about these weights, which can make a big difference.
Yeah, because I mean, you're looking at horsepower, how much you moving down the road,
Right.
How much weight you moving. So the Harley, we're looking at about 110 pounds wet. The Star, 100 or
810.
810.
Excuse me, my bad. I said 100, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about my girlfriend. The Harley, yeah,
Good
we're
recovery.
looking. The Harley's, 810 pounds. The Star, we're looking at 813 pounds. The Victory, we're looking about 760 pounds dry. This is basically the same as the other one wet because, I mean, you're just talking about a little fuel, a little oil. The Indian, 848 pounds wet. Kawasaki, 835 pounds.
Those are two pretty heavy bikes.
So, kind of got a little side note. These are very big, long, heavy motorcycles. The Star is only about 813 pounds with a wheelbase that practically puts it in the chopper class. The Victory is 21 pounds lighter and an inch and a half shorter. The Harley, 23 pounds lighter and some 3 inches shorter. When you're pushing them around the garage, chugging through a parking lot or making a tight U-turn, the Victory and Yamaha feel huge and ponderous. While the Harley seems small and agile by comparison, even though it's not that much lighter than the others. The Street Glide,
Belies.
well, I could read it. I was just
You
wondering.
like my words, dude. When I
you're
write
just-
blogs, I
You want
write.
to tell us
making
what that
crap
means,
up.
Popeye?
I write different than I
The Street
talk.
Glide belies its mass. It basically hides.
Mm-hmm. They're hey, nice.
Very good.
You got to, like you know what the you got to look at the
Come
context. Use the context. You look at the word. Is belies its mass by being far more compact and having a lower center of gravity. There's from a Harley centric person.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I totally get that. You're right. Now, and that's the big deal, guys. You got to look at everything we've talked about, and we've got a little more to talk about. But the Indian, just be aware that is a big, bulky bike. It is. Whether you want the specs don't lie. The Indian is a heavy bike. It's got a long wheelbase. Okay, this bike is a big tank compared to the rest.
Yeah.
It just is.
40 pounds is a lot. 40
Yeah.
pounds. And you're
How long has
pushing
the
that around.
Indian been around? A long time?
The Chieftain.
No,
The Chieftain. That's
Well, Indian's been around a long time.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
actually
no,
been around
but-
longer than the Harley,
the
right?
Harley. Yeah, I thought so.
And then, but they kind of went out for a while, came back. We'll
Right.
do some looking on history on it.
oh geez.
Called
Back
this
to
little
history.
thing called World War II. Yeah, have you heard of that? Who were we fighting in World War II?
It's all a little circle. It all comes right back around.
What got us into World War
Can't
II?
mention anything to this guy.
what got
it
us
all
in-
goes back to history.
What got us into World War II?
Moving on. Don't fall into his trap. Do not fall into his trap. All
You don't
right.
even know, do you? It's something that happened on December 7th.
No, we're done.
No,
We're done.
not even correct.
Just
Yeah, that was correct.
Okay.
all right. Let's
We
talk
won't
about.
even
Let's
go
talk
there.
about. No, don't go there, Chewy. I'm telling you. Me and Lurch have given you this advice. Don't fall into their trap. All right. So let's talk about this. Is weights is important. And like I say, that Indian is a big bike. These other bikes are pretty big, but that's something you need to sit on and really realize, what's going on, with the weight and the wheelbase and all that kind of stuff. Let's talk about fuel capacity, which is kind of interesting as far as tank size. And I think you'll see one of the anomalies here. Chewy, if you go ahead with this.
The Victory has a 6-gallon tank.
No, it doesn't.
Sorry. Harley has a 6-gallon tank.
Mhm.
The Victory has a 5.8-gallon tank. Indian has a 5.5-gallon tank. Kawasaki 5.3 gallons and Star 4.5 gallons.
Where's the anomaly there?
Yeah. Right,
Star.
you got the biggest damn
Thank you.
engine.
I knew
and
you-
The smallest tank.
Yes. Well said, Popeye. Well said. Yeah. Biggest engine, Star. Why? And again, guys, I'm not hacking.
That don't make sense.
I think the Star could be a great bike. I'm just trying to put out the obvious here, guys. Now, what was the other thing we said on the Star? Okay, so yeah, it's got the biggest motor and then the smallest fuel tank. And I just can't understand on a road touring bike why you would put such a small tank. That doesn't, design-wise, as a designer, why would you think that was okay?
Right.
I
I agree. I mean, yeah.
depending on the how it's fuel economy, which we'll get into. But on our Harley Davidson, that's one of the greatest things about the Harley Davidson, guys, is that huge 6-gallon tank. We're good for about 240 miles on our street glides. Usually a little bit more, but I try to cut it at maximum 240 so I don't run out. 6-gallon tanks. What are we pushing? About 42 miles a gallon. Somewhere in there, depending on how hard we're riding.
Yep.
So Victory close 5.8. You can see everybody's 5 and above. and then all of a sudden you have that star. So that would be another, thumbs down on the star, just not from rideability, but just simply if I'm looking at it to go travel, to California like we did this summer. That guy on that star is going to be stopping, way before everybody else. So there you go. Let's talk, which is important, about fuel economy. And I think you're going to realize this isn't a huge deal, but go ahead, Popeye, with that.
All pretty damn close. A Harley 42 miles a gallon, Victory 42. The Star website doesn't give one. It just says NA.
Couldn't find it anywhere.
You can't find a lot of things about that bike, can you?
I know.
The Indian's 42 and the Cowie says 36.
Which is interesting on that Kawasaki, just the way that motor's set up. 36 compares to 42, and its motor it's smaller than the Star.
Right.
And it's in line with the Victory and the Harley, but who knows why, it only gets 36 miles a gallon. But
yeah, 6 gallons, or 6 miles per gallon less. That's kind of weird.
It is. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have an explanation for the guys, but it is what it is. And like Chewy said, are you getting a little bit of, we're not talking completely bad about the Star Stratoliner, but here again, we can find, I looked and looked and looked, and I can't find a gas mileage on that, Star. So
right.
The other thing is, I honestly, and we ride past a lot of motorcycles, and I know you do in your town too, and I know me and Chewy do down here. How many times have you passed one of these bikes, a Star Stratoliner or a Kawasaki Vulcan? It's so rare in the street glide class.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Now I pass Kawasaki's and stuff, but they're, ninjas. And how many times have you been going down the road and go, oh wow, that was interesting. That was a Kawasaki Vulcan. Pretty far and few between in our parts. I'm not saying across the United States, and I'm not saying that's because they suck. I'm just saying they're obviously not as popular.
I got a guy that works with me, and he rides a Star.
Oh, I think I know who that is.
Yeah.
He rode up to Ellensburg with us, didn't he?
Nope.
Oh.
Nope.
What does he ride?
I
forget.
He drives the Kawasaki.
There you go.
There you go.
So there you go, guys. Gas mileage pretty much all in line, besides the Kawasaki falling, at the bottom there at 36.
I've actually kept track of mine. Just going back and forth to work. It's about 38. I get.
Okay, right. And
because you ride like a pansy ass.
Oh, geez. And,
I don't ride in 6th gear, dude. Sorry.
But, that's why they do fuel mileage. They do average. They do city. They do average, and then they do highway. It's somewhere in between there, but definitely riding to work back and forth, through.
And it's some city.
That's what I mean.
Driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're riding through the city to get to work, so that makes sense. If you're out in the country, you probably get a little bit better mileage.
There we go. All right. Entertainment and GPS systems. This is huge, guys, when you're buying a bike that you want to pay attention. Everybody's kind of in competition for this. So why don't you go ahead? I'll talk about this since I'm familiar with it.
Yep.
Of course, I'll tell you right now before we go any further, Harley-Davidson is above all these bikes, way, way above with the new boombox infotainment system and integrated GPS system. It's a cut above. Nobody else in this category of bikes is even close. Of course, the boombox system is made by Harman Kardon, and they're in cahoots with Harley-Davidson for this product. Of course, don't forget, guys, if you do get this bike, you can head over and get my boom full. I've got 3 of them, boombox videos. They're very, very popular. You can just go to www.harleyboombox.com and it'll redirect you to where you need to be on my site and all that kind of stuff, or lawabidingbiker.com/harleyboombox. Either of those will get you there. Now, we'll talk about what the others have, which isn't even close to what Harley-Davidson has. But of course, Harley just stepped it up for the first year. This is the first year, or 2014 was the first year they put this new boombox infotainment system on. Of course, it's coming on the new 2015 Touring class models, and they've got 2 versions of that. But either version beats all these others. So what does the Victory come with? Because I looked at Mario's a little bit, and you wrote it, Popeye. Just comes with a basic.
Yeah, just basic radio.
It's basically like yours, right?
Right, yeah.
Which you have a 12.
Yeah, 12. Street Glide.
Tell us about your 12, the basic Harley radio. It's got the auxiliary port, so you can plug your iPod in.
Port, yeah. It's not
touchscreen.
It ain't touchscreen. Nope, you can program the radio for your different FM, AM channels.
No GPS.
No GPS. Nothing fancy.
Just standard radio.
Standard.
Yep, very good. And that's what the Victory comes with, guys, and I've seen it. However, I will tell you on the Victory, they did throw some toggles on the control clusters on each handlebar like they did the Harley Davidson to control it. So Victory did throw some little toggles on the side so you can flip through your stations and stuff without actually reaching up to the radio. So there you go. Victory, pretty standard. I really expect Victory to be ramping that up in the future. Everybody's going to have to stay in competition. Let's talk about the Star. And you know what, Chewy, this is a good one for you because you know what? Chewy has the standard radio too. On his Harley Davidson, just the standard, what they came with for years. But in addition, tech mount. Chewy's got the tech mount.
I do have the tech mount.
And we put it on there.
Son of a bitch.
Somebody else was trying to steal that away from me. He might be sitting to my right.
That's right. And the tech gripper is what you have. The tech mount is what actually mounts it to your control cluster. And we did a complete video on that, guys. lawabidingbiker.com/motorcycle cell phone mount. We've got several videos over there. We've got a blog. The tech mount really is awesome. And it's on LD's bike, and now it's on Chewy's. Chewy, you love that thing?
Yeah, it works good.
Because you can put your cell phone right up there, and now you have GPS. Because your phone, you can see it up there. And so if you don't have that integrated GPS, guys, this tech mount is the way to go. Or even if you want to put a Garmin, you can use this tech gripper for a cell phone. You can use it for a radar detector. You can use it for a GPS, anything. So you get that, and
I have the new iPhone 6 Plus. And
fits in there fine.
It fits in there fine.
It's awesome.
Yep.
Holds it great. And we do have an affiliate with them, guys, and we appreciate it. We are a top seller for them. So lawabidingbiker.com/powersportsus. Please, please, please use that affiliate link. Bookmark it. No additional cost to you guys. That's right. We do get a small commission in return if you decide to buy a tech mount from them. You will be happy with it. I wouldn't be recommending it. I did some videos on it, like I say, complete review. Let's talk about the Star motorcycle. What type of system does it have? You want to go with that, Popeye?
It's got a motorcycle-friendly Garmin Zumu 665 GPS with a flip-down design, loaded with features including navigation, Bluetooth, SiriusXM satellite.
And see, this is an add-on, though, but I will tell people that.
Radio capability, real-time weather and traffic, road condition warnings, and much more. That must be right from their website of,
it is.
We got this, this, and this, and this.
Right. And it's an extra, so don't plan on that. And it's a flip-down screen. It's a Zumo 665. That's something you guys are going to have to look at to see if that's a system that you're going to be comfortable with. The Stratoliner Deluxe comes with standard with a fairing that includes integrated speakers, of course. They've all got pretty much iPod connectors and all that, so that's no big deal. And this one does too, plus a convenient handlebar mounted audio control system. I don't know exactly what that means. All right. You want to talk about the Indian?
It's got...
has no integrated GPS.
Right, and it's got an LED display.
LED display.
Which is basically
small.
Exactly what you
Kinda
guys
like
have.
Something that Popeye has. Something
right.
small.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Right back at him. All right. So it's just got a basic LED display, very small, kind of like, it's basically like the Harley. They just threw that on there. Kawasaki, it's got an intercom headset compatible, 40-watt twin speaker audio system. It has navigation, so you can plug your phone in, of course, duh. And you can, if you have GPS on your phone, you can get navigation problems, but your phone's doing that. Okay. It's all so compatible, of course, with iPods. You can plug them in and select GPS devices, no integrated GPS. All right, so you know what? There you go. I don't think there's much to say about that, except they all have pretty standard stereo systems, except for the Harley, which is a cut above on that. So here's a cruising speed statement I wanted to go over that I thought was pretty interesting, and I kind of put together. At cruising speeds, and this isn't all the bikes, but this you'll understand, but at cruising speeds, the Harley is arguably the smoothest. The result of its rubber engine mounting. I'm going to stop there. Did you hear that? Rubber engine mounting. Harley has that, which is why it is such a smooth running bike, guys. You will notice the difference when you ride some of these other bikes. It's not that you can't handle it. It's that Harley has had so much time, as I've stated before, to really design and engineer this bike. And that's why you can have that big motor in there and have something like the Street Glide that runs so smooth. And it's because that engine is mounting. As I pick up here, I say the other baggers have solid mounted counterbalance engines that buzz just a skosh when thrumming along at road speeds. So you're going to notice a lot more vibration probably, guys, and some buzz on these other bikes that aren't rubber mounted engines. The HD and Star shift more smoothly, I will say, and quietly than the Victory. That's pretty known as you look around the internet. The Victory is a loud shifter, which also emits a lot of gear noise. So in all 6 speeds, except for its direct drive fifth. I know you want to weigh in on this. So let's pick up right here. Now, the reason I have Popeye in the studio, number 1, he's a friend. Number 2, he likes to drink my whiskey. Number 3, he rides down here and he's got to get up early in the morning. But number 4 is that he actually rode Mario's nuclear sun glow or whatever it's called. His cross country flamin' orange. Because you went down, tell this little story just briefly and we'll pick up from there.
So last year, Mario had bought this bike off of eBay or something. Got a good deal down in Arizona. Was trying to figure out how to get it back up here. We had a couple different ideas. Long story short, we ended up deciding one of my best friends all the way through high school and all the way through college was living down in Arizona, who had always been bugging me to come down and visit him. So I figured, what better way than go visit than go down and pick up a bike.
Luckily, Mario knows a couple cool guys, or actually a cool guy that is part of the Sworn Few.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd called my buddy. We were looking at riding down there, and I asked him, hey, are you going to be at home this week and this weekend? So we're going to stay at your house, and we're looking at riding the bike back is what the original plan was. He goes, no, I'm coming up to Spokane. And I didn't realize that was the weekend he was coming up to look at property up in Spokane, which is only a couple hours away from where we live, because he was going to be moving back, which I knew of. But see, I didn't realize he was moving that quick. So anyway, he was going to haul this bike up for Mario for free because the back end of his pickup was open. He was hauling 20-something foot cargo trailer back up. So I told Mario, hey, I'll go down and visit my buddy. I'll pick up your bike and we'll just bring it up. I'll make a road trip out of it, hang out with one of my best friends for 4, 5, 6 days or something like that, and bring it up here for you. So anyway, went down Arizona, down to Phoenix area, and it was beautiful. In like March. I think it was early March or mid-March, something like that. So up here, it was still real crappy weather. It was kind of snowing, real cold. LD was trying to get me to ride down there, and
he wanted a couple of us to ride down there.
I heard about that, and I can tell you what, I'm glad I didn't, because it snowed on us when we were coming back up. So anyway, went down there, picked the bike up, hour and a half or so, 2 hours north of Phoenix. So I was able to ride on the Victory for a while, and me and Ryan were talking about this the other day. And I really don't have anything bad to say, for the most part, about the Victory. It was a nice running bike, had power, got up to highway speeds, and at highway speeds it cruised nicely. It's a good looking bike. I don't care as much for the back of it, for the bags. That's just my personal opinion. I really like the front end of it. I think the front end looks really nice. I just don't like how the bags are cut in.
How the bags are what?
How they're cut in.
Oh,
just
so
the design
strictly
of them.
Looks, right?
Strictly the looks.
Okay.
But or not, on the front end of it, like I said, on Mario's bike, really like the look of the front end. Really looks great. Rode nice. Fairly high speed limits down there, so we're able to put up to speed a little bit. Rides really nice at highway speeds, and it goes well.
What did you
the flow of traffic?
Right, but
turning, all the turns, rode real well through turns, going through there. I like the shifting of it. I didn't really have a bad thing to say about it. One of the only things that I hear, since I don't have one, I don't have to deal with it, is accessorizing it.
Right.
I hear is kind of a pain for getting different options. Like the Harley, you can buy a ton of equipment for the damn thing. I mean, you can put all kinds of stuff on that bike. Whereas my understanding of the Victory is that it's much more difficult to swap things in and out. Whereas this, like I said, there's just a ton of different items on the Victory. Did you have a question, Ryan?
No, I don't. I guess, yeah, I did. I guess one of my questions was, so you get off your Street Glide and you get on your Victory. Was there a noticeable difference in the vibration? I mean, how did it run, if we make up a word, smoothability factor? Is it something that you noticed, or were you paying attention?
I didn't really notice it. In fact, at I would almost say in traffic, holding still, that there's a little more, when you're not moving, the Harley has a little more vibration. You know, Harleys are when you stop. I mean, that's where that rubber mounted motor really comes in handy. But when you stop, you get that
Shake
vibration
around.
on your bike when you're just sitting still. Now on the Victory, I didn't notice it as much. Just sitting still at highway speeds, like I say, it ran nice. I don't really have a bad thing to say about it. I laid it over, real hard, going through some of the corners.
Mm-hmm.
Rode nice.
He
Nice
didn't-
riding bike.
Did you notice any difference about it though? Or if you closed your eyes or blindfolded and I put you on, a Harley and then put you on a Victory, would you know the difference and why? I know that's a tough question.
For me, the Victory, the handlebars are just kind of a little bit more forward.
Okay.
The thing is, and this bike was set up maybe a little different, although he says it didn't really change much for a little bit taller guy. So the Victory for me was set up a little bit taller. I'm not real tall. I'm only like 5'9", 5'10". So everything was a little bit more forward on the Victory. Stretched out a little bit longer. So if you had longer legs, it might have been a little bit more comfortable for you. But I said, as far as, I can't really dog on the Victory.
Good.
I liked it. It was a good riding bike.
That's what I was getting at, for the listening audience is, here's a guy that's ridden a cross country Victory and he's ridden a Street Glide and he's telling you not a huge amount of difference. Now,
I'd like to ride one of those.
yeah, right. The Indian,
The Chieftain.
the Chieftain. Now,
They look nice.
I will say, what would be your reason then for going to the dealership and buying a Harley? If you had to get a new bike right now, and just be honest, if you had to get a bike right now and you had the money to go either buy the Victory Cross Country or the Street Glide, the new 2014 Street Glide, which one would you buy and why? I'm putting you on the spot. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Strictly for me, like I was saying, is that the look.
Okay.
The look of the
That low, that short, that.
No, for me, like I said, the rear bags. I don't like the rear bags as much. I don't like that rear fender on the Victory as much. It just looks too futuristic for me.
Mm-hmm.
The front end, I really like the front end look of it. I don't like that back end at all. It's just,
Yeah, I agree.
it's just personal preference. Once again, it says, what do you like?
Looks futuristic.
It just looks too futuristic on the back end, but I really like the front end. The first 3/4 of that bike looks really sharp.
Yeah, it does.
The back end with the bags and that rear fender,
Mm-hmm.
personal preference, I just don't like it. The Harley, it's nostalgia. Like I've said in previous podcasts, rumor is and by all accounts is that, my grandpa had the very first Harley in the Issaquah Valley, 1940. So, probably not by 1940. I'm sure somebody else probably had a Harley around there, but one of the very first, as far as anybody can remember around there. So anyway, for me, it's it's kind of a family thing. My family's always had Harleys. That's what I've always ridden. I like them.
Okay. So nothing as far as I shouldn't say tangible, it's not the right word, has nothing to do with performance.
No.
Strictly a looks issue to you
Yes.
when it comes down to it.
That's what it is for me.
Okay. All right. Now, Chewy.
Looks and the Harley nostalgia. Just
Right.
The Harley name. Yeah.
Perfect.
Those two things.
And I'm going to agree with you. And then I'll let you, Chewy.
Mhm.
I'll pose the same question to you while you're waiting there. I definitely would get the Harley Davidson, but I would go more. I like the looks of it better, but I go with some performance issues too. I will just tell you that the Harley, and I fall back on it, guys. I'm sorry, but if I'm going to spend that kind of money, I'm going to buy something that's proven. The Harley Street Glide is proven. That motor, the Harley motor, the Harley brand, that motor runs great. It's been tested, all that kind of stuff. You're going to spend, the Victory is a little bit less money. I think it's a great looking bike. I agree with you. I don't like the back of it, so I just like the look of the Harley. I like that big front tire. I like the integrated GPS and boombox infotainment system. They're just running machines, and they really had time. That rubber mounting engine is super important to me. I have ridden a few other bikes, not that particular bike. You certainly notice the difference when you don't have that rubber mounted engine. Again, have no problem with the Victory though. I think it's a great running bike. I think it's a great looking bike. If I had the money and I had to buy one though, I'm going with the Street Glide. Go ahead, Chewy.
Yeah, for me, it's just being familiar. The only street bike I've ever ridden is a Harley.
Mm-hmm.
I've ridden a lot of dirt bikes, four-wheelers and stuff like that. But the very first street bike I ever rode was a Harley. And so it's just familiar to me. I like the way it looks. I like the Victory. The Victory looks nice. I think it looks a little futuristic.
That's
honestly.
my problem with it too.
But it's a nice look. I mean, it's not a ugly bike.
Right.
It just looks different to me. I like the look of the Harley Street Glide. That's just me. And I'm familiar with it. That's the only bike I've ever driven on the road.
I hear you. I agree with you, Popeye, right here, and you guys. This is ugly. These round bags in the back.
Yeah, the back. The rear bags. That rear fender just sticks out.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's wrap this up, guys.
Which is also my recommendation with a cheap hooker.
I love it. All right, so we've got all 5 here on the screen, guys. We've got the Kawasaki Vulcan Vaquero. Did you see this? Look at it's got a really weird venting system up front.
Yeah, that front end looks weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Look at the dash. It's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah, that's not bad.
They've got an interesting dash on the inside. It's just interesting
Lots of
looking.
gauges and stuff, even where where everything is at, just kind of a little different. I just don't really like the look of that a whole lot.
Look at
That's
this
on the
old
Kawasaki.
gauge style. It's
I
like the old hot
gauges.
rod.
It is.
I like the old style looking gauges that it has, but yeah, as far as just the placement to me is a little bit weird.
Right. I agree. And there's a back shot of it. So between there's the Kawasaki we're looking at on the screen. There's the Victory. We know what that looks like. Here's the Star Stratoliner. If you guys haven't had a good chance to look at the Star Stratoliner, there's some shots for you because we're going to put these in order of what you would buy based on our personal experience. All right. So there's that. It's not a bad looking bike, the Stratoliner, though, is it?
It's not
It's
bad
not
looking
too
bike.
bad.
Again, everybody's rounding these bags like
Yeah,
the
they are.
Victory, and I
It's
don't
all
like
rounded.
that. Definitely a different look. Here's the Indian Chieftain, which we're all familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Be quite honest,
I think that's,
I'm not a big fan of the Indians. I never have been.
I think it
but
looks okay.
There's a couple Indians that I like.
you got to
Like-
be in the mood for. It's another style. You got to be in the mood for that style.
Mhm.
It's got that big fender over the wheel.
Mhm.
I think they're great bikes. Yeah,
Right.
I'm not digging these signals built into the fairing. I'm not digging that fairing. Okay, and then of course the Street
beautiful
Glide.
looking bike. That's your bike right there.
It's an ugly color.
You guys get to do it after me. I'm doing it first. So yeah, that's nuclear.
Nuclear sunset.
That's nuclear
Pretty much it's orange.
Orange.
All right. Here's if I have money to go buy one of these right now and money's not an option, just based on my experience and what I've already told you guys, here's the order I'm going to buy them in. I'm first going to go pick me up a Harley Davidson Street Glide Special. I'm then definitely going and picking up a Victory. That's my second bike I'm going to buy. My third bike, just because it's American built, I'm going with the Indian Chieftain. Even though the looks aren't that great for it, I know it's American made. It's an American motor. And then I'm going to go
America.
with a Vulcan. Even though it's interesting, I think it's a pretty well-built bike. The police have used them before, the Kawasaki Vulcan. And last, of course, is I'm going to buy the Yamaha Star Stratoliner. There you go, guys. That's my 5. Go ahead, Popeye. Tell me what you're doing here.
If money was no option,
It doesn't matter. You got to buy 5 bikes, but you got to buy them in priority of which one you want.
They're all going to be Harleys. I'm going to go with the Street Glide. Then I'm going to go buy myself like a Fat Boy or something. Then I'm going to get myself a Road King. You know?
Good choice.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong.
Let me rephrase this question. The question. So yeah, I agree with you.
I'd go Harley, then I'd go Victory. The other ones I don't really care.
What about
as far as
you?
order,
Got
but
to.
I go Harley and then Victory.
But you got to. This
No, I
is the
don't.
question. You got to make a decision.
Harley, Victory. What's the other one we're looking at?
Indian?
There? I'd go with the Indian.
Kawasaki Star.
I would go with probably the Stratoliner. I mean, I like to look.
Oh,
at
so
that
you're
a
going to go
little
with the Yamaha.
better. Yeah,
Okay.
I go with the Yamahammer
And then the Kawasaki.
and then the Cowie.
All right. You're up, Chewy.
I'm going to go Harley, Indian, Victory, Yamaha, Kawasaki.
You're Indian before, and you're doing Yamaha before Kawasaki.
Actually, no, switch those. Kawasaki, Yamaha.
So the only switch you made is you're getting the Indian before the Victory.
Yes.
Wow. Good call, man. Good
Yep.
call. Love it, man. We had a lot of information in there, guys.
All right, I'm gonna go freeze my butt off on the ride home. 40 degrees, baby. Don't feel too bad for me though. Don't
guys-
feel too bad. After this 40-degree ride home, a little bit later, be going to. I already got my Ultra Classic Reserve over in Hawaii.
Oh, that's right.
Ooh, nice, dude.
Oh yeah.
You dog. That's awesome, man. But I do, Popeye, really, guys in the audience, Popeye, both of you guys for being in here. It's been a long night. We've done a Sons of Anarchy, and then we did this episode. So I can't thank you enough, guys, because these guys come down. I feed them some dinner. We had a great dinner. Good Mexican fiesta.
Feed us something, all right.
He does. He rides all the way down here and frickin' rides all the way back up. So there you go, guys. Don't forget, you can leave us, a listener hotline message at 509-731-3548 or an internet voicemail from your computer anywhere in the world, lawabidingbiker.com/voicemail. Don't forget to get in the free email club I send out when we make new free videos and stuff, guys. lawabidingbiker.com/email club. That thing's getting huge. All right, guys. If you don't have any money, and you can't donate right now, or you can't get over to Patreon to support us, at least rate us. It's free. It only takes you about a minute.
Only the price of a coffee, folks.
There you go. For less than the price of a coffee, you can support us on Patreon. But at least rate us on iTunes, lawabidingbiker.com/iTunes. Or if you're on the Android side, /Stitcher Radio. We really, really thank it, guys. What are you waiting for, freaking bikeaholics? Get out there and ride already. Keep the rubber side down.
And the shiny side up. We're out, baby.
Yo, peace out.
Right on.
Thank you for listening to the Law Abiding Biker podcast. Please listen to our next episode.